Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Level Playing Field ProCast with your host, Dominic Green, Managing Partner of ATENANTco Commercial Real Estate Services. And on today's ProCast, we're going to have a discussion about the economic terms outside of the numbers, right? Things that you need to consider um, in the negotiation or during a consultation with your counsel, your broker, your tenant rep, also internally amongst your team members. So that way you kind of get the whole picture of what you're looking to accomplish when you're leasing commercial real estate space, whether it's restaurant space, industrial, office, or retail. Okay, so let's get started. So one of the items that is definitely important to consider and have a discussion about when you're negotiating in your lease and having a discussion is parking rights, right? So depending on your organization, how many employees you have currently, what you're anticipating, will initially factor in how much space you're looking to get or to acquire. So when you're looking at, like, for instance, your suburban areas or some of your other urban areas outside of the central business district, um, your spacing requirements are definitely going to be different. And now this depends also on what the zoning and codes and things like that of the area are. But typically, um, if you experience being downtown, especially in Dallas here, downtown Dallas, there's very, very limited parking. So obviously you have a lot of parking garages. They're maybe public or private, and then you have your parking lots, which are private, where you're paying, and some people have memberships and things like that. So depending on what type of building you're in, one of the things we always ask is, what is the parking situation, right? Is it 3 per 1,000, 6 per 1,000? And then is it free parking for the tenant as well as their customers, or is it only free parking for the tenant and then the customer pays? Or do you have to pay an additional fee on top of your rent number for parking for a lot amount of uh, employees plus customers? So all that is something that you want to have a discussion with and negotiate as far as what are the parking rights that you need compared to what's being offered and so forth. It's, like I said, it's definitely important if you're a business looking for space in a central business district like downtown Dallas or your downtown area. Retail, the convenience factor with retail is you want your customers to be able to pull up right up front to your building if that's the way the layout is laid, where the space that you're leasing. And then especially for your restaurateurs out there, you would definitely want to have a lot amount of parking for your patrons, your guests, especially up front, handicap, and then a lot amount of parking outside of that. Because again, you're dealing with customers looking for convenience and experience. And if it's a place where it's hard to find parking, it's very inconvenient. You got to park so far. You always have to valet. You know, that can become an issue and that can affect your bottom line. So when you're having these negotiating discussions, and even before that, having discussions with your tenant rep or internal team about what is the parking situation we need to address and how that needs to be addressed. This is definitely something that's going to be very, very important to rectify during negotiations. Um, Another thing, as far as your economic portion um, of the lease that you want to discuss beyond the numbers, is expansion clauses, right? So we all know that you plan, and sometimes your plan changes, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. But specifically for the better, where you're growing really fast, revenues are growing, and you need to hire more people, you need to, during your negotiation for your commercial space and your commercial lease, have a discussion about uh, your right to expand, right? Whether that's you have the first right of offer on any space that comes available, that the landlord is thinking about marketing, they have to come to you first. You have the first right of refusal which basically means that the space is being marketed and the landlord is actively marketing the space, gets an LOI, and then has to come to you and say, hey, do you want this space based on these particular terms, or can you do better in some instances? And then maybe a must take scenario. And that's just typically uh, you agree to lease an entire space, let's say 10,000 square feet, but you're only going to be paying for maybe 2,000 square feet initially. Um, and what's going to happen is over the course of the lease, you're going to ramp up, and whatever that time frame of those dynamics are, um, that will be negotiated as well. Um, so yeah, if you're a software company, accounting, engineering, um, IT, those businesses that grow very rapidly, construction will be another one. Um, you definitely want to put a lot of emphasis and discussion and thought into how you want to address your expansion, um, should that prevail, um, or should that come to pass during your time in the space that you're leasing currently. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Level Playing Field Procast. You can follow us, or actually follow me, on Twitter at Dominic Green CRE. Search us on LinkedIn and Facebook. Just type in the word ATENANTco. Or you can follow go to my personal profile on LinkedIn at Dominic Green Tenant Rep Advisor. For more information about us, go to our website at www.atenanco.com. And for immediate assistance, you can give us a call at 214-247-6211. And until next time, happy leasing, everyone.